Chapter 18, Overview of Harassment Methods Used by FBI's COINTELPRO Operation Gladio, Covert Community Recruits, and Stay Behind Armies, or Instruction Manual for Community Gang Stalkers. Welcome back to the program, everybody. Welcome back to another show. Welcome back to another episode. Good morning or good afternoon to all of my viewers, listeners, and Soul Tribe family. The name of this program is called It's a Conspiracy, But It Ain't No Theory. It's a Conspiracy, But It Ain't No Theory is a nonprofit social service agency suicide prevention campaign servicing the needs of families and foster children at risk. Lending my voice to help raise awareness by soft publishing a book trilogy called Lucy's Lair. Lucy's Lair is a graphic novel based on true events following my life as a freelance artist. This program is intended to help encourage, heal, and empower survivors of cancel culture and rape culture, providing free information and evidence regarding child abuse, sexual assault, domestic violence, electronic harassment, gang stalking, conspiracy, and true organized crimes against humanity, collective and covert. Your company can help by providing funds in a grant or by donating goods and services as I continue delivering this information and evidence to the public and advocating for foster children in need. Thank you in advance for all of your support. On today's episode, I am going to be discussing gang stalking, occult ritual stalking, hypersimulation theory, covert psychological operations, plus surviving the New World Disorder, surviving the New World War, surviving manufactured chaos, surviving manufactured karma spelled with a C, don't mess with me, surviving white genocide, and surviving the electronic targeting Holocaust. My name is Adrienne Alese. I am the author and creator of a book trilogy called Lucy's Lair. Lucy's Lair is a book trilogy reflecting my life as a survivor of rape culture, child sex trafficking, and psychological gas chambers. On this program, I advocate for women's rights, basic human rights, and the rights of those disabled. I also advocate on behalf of the foster children in the CPS systems, orphans, single mothers, foster mothers, and those less fortunate. Targeted individuals or trafficked victims, because it's essentially the same thing, are predominantly women. 65 to 70% of targeted individuals are white American women or those who identify as such. This makes gang stalking an illegal operation, or hate crime that is sexually and politically motivated towards American women and their children, family, and supporters. This program is a dedication to the targeted individual community. The objective of the opposition, or the counterintelligence program COINTELPRO 2.0, is to subvert all of the target's potentiality. This is done by mobbing the target. To terminate and to punish all supporters and sympathizers, that's why there will be none. To round down the target's output and audience, to marginalize the target, to eliminate connections and networking ability. When the enemy takes its time and leisure to manipulate me via brainwashing methods, called mind control, into believing that I should commit suicide because my ass is flat or anything of the sort, I just laugh and I think and have to remind myself why the enemy hoovers in the first place. The enemy hoovers for the FBI. These gang stalkers hoover for the FBI because it has low self-esteem. It's easy prey for the enemy to use as flying monkeys and recruits because it has low self-esteem. Happy, healthy, confident people do not gang stalk or participate in satanic rituals. And when you realize that the ideal image is a Kim Kardashian knockoff that gang stalks and participates in these occult rituals for ritual torture and belongs to a rape culture, when you realize that's not the making of a healthy, happy, confident person, when I see them gang stalking because they're insecure and jealous, hoovering because they're mentally ill, I realize that it's actually not better. Bigger is actually not better. The enemy is a liar. And if it's better to be you, then why are you suffering so much from these delusions? Why are you so crazy and unhealthy and unhappy? If it's better to be you, and I should feel that way, because you're bigger, because you have a bigger butt, if it's better to be you, then why aren't you happier than me? Why do you need my reaction as a validation? Why does my reaction give you the ego boost that you need? That fake confidence, it comes from ego boosts. It's not real confidence. They're not actually happy. They're incredibly insecure. These Kim Kardashian knockoffs, the reason why they hoover for the FBI is because they're insecure and mentally ill. That's a big part of it. So in any case, if I'm supposed to be depressed and deprived and feeling all of this psychological distress and emotional distress because apparently you have something that I don't have that you think I want. If it's better to be you, if you're so much happier and so much better off, then why bother? And since it's so much better to be you, and since you have everything, shouldn't you be happier? Because the only thing that they're saying by hovering for the FBI is that they're not actually happier. And when you can get a clear picture of what all it has to do in order to feel validated, you realize it's not better to be them. It's not better to have a Kim Kardashian knockoff fake butt implants. It's not better. They have it and they themselves are not even happy with it. That's why they gang stalk. That's why they hoover. So all of this manipulation, all of this cult mind control, just to try to make somebody feel like they're not enough. What these gang stalkers actually do inadvertently is give their own power away by doing this. So if you have what you think I want in order to feel beautiful, or to be happy, and you yourself are not even happy with it, that's why you hoover for the FBI and gang stalk, then what is the point in making me feel like I need to have that too? And then persistently making me feel that way when obviously you're lying. If you have it, what you think I want, to be happy, and you still are not happy yourself, do you see the flaw in your brainwashing cult mind control logic? I'm supposed to be so depressed because I have a flat ass and a tooth gap that it's the cause of my synthetic, faulty mental health misdiagnosis? Okay. Do you see the flaw in your logic? You have what you think I want and need in order to be happy, but you yourself are not happy, are not confident, are not stable mentally, emotionally, and otherwise. You're not secure. Do you see how this doesn't even make any sense? And you, by trying to set me up to make me look crazy, obsessed, and jealous, actually made yourself look that way. Made the whole group look that way. Because that's what you are. That's what you all are. You, by exploiting me, actually put everybody in that cult at risk. Do you not see how this works? And so it wants to simulate the feeling of being rejected for having a tooth gap, an imperfection in my teeth. And so it's going to use the dentist as the perfect opportunity to do this. And it's already intercepted as me, called and phoned into the dentist and has rescheduled an appointment for me that I have never made. So I'm getting ready to go into the dentist again tomorrow. I've already kind of more or less covered how the dentist and the doctor or the welfare or just anything like that is the perfect opportunity for the FBI to intercept, hoover, and triangulate and run their dark psychological warfare, their psychological operations. But tomorrow and coming up in the near future, I have more appointments to go to that I'll be able to give more explanation as to how this is done. So this is a conspiracy even deeper than the fluoride in the toothpaste, the fluoride in the water, the typical normal conspiracy theory topics usually don't even get this deep. The idea is to try to simulate the feeling of being rejected. So this is the psychological war. This is the dark psychology that the FBI is going to go ahead and use this as a window of opportunity and intercept so they can hoover, so they can arrange a mind-controlled misfortune, so they can put these intrusive thoughts in our minds that cause us to feel a certain type of way, let's say insecure. It's not real insecurity. It was programmed in order to depop. This is essential for depop because people who genuinely love themselves, people who genuinely love their lives are a lot harder to depop. So the mind control and the brainwashing, the cold mind control, all of the sexual exploitation and every other tool and weapon is used in order to depop. Essentially, that's the idea here. To stage a faulty mental health diagnosis, to discredit what it is that I'm saying and experiencing. To stage a synthetic psychological collapse. That is the goal. That is what it is currently working on. That is what the FBI is currently working on. And more specifically, to try to simulate the feeling of being rejected for having a tooth gap. In this instance, I'm going to record it tomorrow. We'll see how it goes. So stay tuned for that. And more specifically, even more specifically than that, trying to simulate the feeling of being rejected by, quote, God for having minor imperfections, which is a synthetic voice of God technology by Omniscience. And so anyways, the way that it is going about staging these synthetic psychological collapses is by constantly simulating the feeling of being rejected for having imperfections or just for being human. So long before they set the stage and introduce the mock wife that represents the death cults and the rape culture with the knockoff Kim Kardashian fake butt implant look, long before this even occurs, there are measures, or I should say countermeasures, that are taken that profile a person's imperfections and exploit that to the most inhumane degree imaginable. And so then, this is only possible when you're constantly brainwashing using trauma-based mind control as a form of no-touch torture, as well as sexual exploitation, which is what the trauma-based mind control is. So it's very easy when you've constantly picked a person apart, picked the victim apart for all of its so-called flaws, like having a tooth gap, having a flat ass, excuse my French, and then it's seemingly even easier to stage a synthetic psychological collapse after you've constantly, perpetually picked the victim apart and exploited the victim for every little thing. Then they introduce the mock wife that represents the death cults and the rape culture. And then they stage this synthetic psychological collapse that would make it appear that the target is insecure, jealous, and obsessed. This is needed so that the community can see this go down and also be manipulated and also be brainwashed, because the entire thing is a stage. The entire thing is a set. Everybody involved is working to depopulate the victim. And this is an attrition-based, bottom-up approach. It's a slow kill method. It's a slow kill torture program. And so in order to stage a synthetic psychological collapse, you have to use obsessive repetition. In order to dehumanize, degrade, and to basically set the foundation for the synthetic psychological collapse to occur in the first place. So there are harassment methods that are being employed so as to set the stage, like the way you would set a table before you sit down to eat. So before the actual hoedown, all of these harassment methods are employed using obsessive repetition, and they have to be in synchronized, coordinated fashion in order to increase the effectiveness of the program. So otherwise it doesn't work, because if somebody just walks in and, out of nowhere without all of this pre-programming ahead of time, like simulating the feeling of being rejected for having a minor tooth imperfection, and other methods as well. That's just one example. I'm going to continue to cover this going forward, but this is only possible. This whole operation only works because of the basis for the foundation that's laid ahead of time. Otherwise, it doesn't. Without the buildup, there's no breakdown. So it doesn't work. Without all of this buildup, first there has to be microaggression after microaggression, using obsessive repetition every day, all day long, in order to get and work up to the meltdown. There has to be a buildup first in order to work up to the meltdown. And so this is how they're going about doing this. And this is all illegal. This is a hate crime, and I'm owed restitutions. This is really tragic. Every single person that has been recruited to gang stalk owes restitutions, whether knowingly or unknowingly. It doesn't matter if they knew what they were doing or if they were completely brainwashed. In my opinion, it makes no difference. Covert or otherwise, every single person pushing this agenda owes restitutions. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That's it. They're not heroes. History will not remember them. They're not going to be in any formal memorial setting where they're actually recognized for all the criminal actions that they've took or have taken. The only recognition that they ever get is the synthetic psychological collapse that was perpetuated by these criminals in this crime family that hoover for the FBI in order to protect their system, their beast system. And so when you realize that that's what they do it for, the thrill of it, without the scapegoat, they don't get that high anymore. That's why a lot of people will call them adrenaline junkies or adrenochrome junkies, because the only recognition they really ever get, or the only confidence or security they ever really feel, is when they've victimized their scapegoat. This is it. And so their life really means nothing otherwise. They have no purpose, no soul's purpose, no direction, and definitely no vision. And without vision or direction, how could they give guidance? How can their guidance, with no direction whatsoever, no soul's purpose, how could their guidance be divine?